Leicester City are confirmed as Championship title winners. They are heading back to the Premier League. Here is the story of how they did it. The Foxes pulled off one of football's greatest fairy tales, winning the Premier League in 2016. This achievement won't be seen the same way, more as the club simply doing what was expected of them. Teams relegated into the Championship are generally either yo-yoing between the top two tiers or have circled the drain in the Premier League for a fair while before dropping. Leicester were neither, and very much not your average Championship team. We'll get into Leicester's finances in due course, don't you worry about that. But back in the summer, they banked big money with the sales of Barnes and Maddison before ploughing in what we think was about £40 million to build their Championship winning team. Winks, Cannon, Cody, Hermansen, Mavididi, and some loanees all arrived. Well, a number of players who had led Leicester to back-to-back top 5 Premier League finishes were able to be retained to play at a level that was probably not on the agenda when they joined in the first instance. Now, even though they seem to have complete proven quality throughout their entire squad, the manager at the start of the season for Leicester was pretty unproven. Enzo Maresca, a former Pep Guardiola staffer, came in for his first manager's gig in English football in what can be a league that will chew you up and spit you out if you're not up to it. Let's be fair, there was plenty of pressure on Enzo Maresca this season at Leicester, and although fans of teams relegated from the Premier League will find every reason and excuse not to admit it, the financial advantages relegated teams have over all of their competitors in the Championship are starkly obvious for anyone to see. With the chasm in TV money between Premier League and EFL and the 100-ton elephant in the room that is parachute payments, the basic expectation for a competent relegated team is to make a top 2 challenge, with anything outside the top 6 often resulting in managers of these clubs heading to the job centre. So, were Leicester merely competent? No, they were much better than that, and they funneled their advantages through a definitive and well-coached style of play to absolutely fly out of the blocks at the start of the Championship season. 13 wins in the first 14 games built a 14-point promotion cushion early in the season, with the main criticism levelled at Leicester being that they didn't win by enough goals. And could they play a little bit faster and excite their fans a little more? First world problems, right? There was a double defeat to Leeds and Borough at the start of November, but Leicester were relentless and went straight back on a run of one defeat in the next 16 games, arriving at Valentine's Day, still with that familiar 14-point cushion for promotion and looking set to be the highest scoring Championship team of all time. But we didn't get the 2-month victory lap for Leicester to end the season that we could have. And things actually got a little bit complicated during the run-in. Firstly, Leicester found themselves in the bizarre situation of simultaneously being one of the most effective Championship teams we've ever seen and not being able to shake off their competition. Southampton had a giant unbeaten run. Leeds went on a huge New Year winning streak, and Ipswich were defying logic by hanging around with these high point scorers despite having just been promoted from League One the previous season. Secondly, Leicester started to lose some games. The run from Valentine's Day saw them lose 6 times in 10 games, actually dropped them to 20th in the form table over that period of games, and what seemed impossible actually happened as Leicester temporarily dropped outside of the top 2. Thirdly, and probably most pertinently, was the charge for breaching FFP given at the end of March. Now, we can debate whether or not the current system is fit for purpose, of course, and let's be honest, only the 23 clubs competing against Leicester this season will remember this, but we have to be honest and say that the idea that Leicester escape sanctions, whether that be an approved business plan, a transfer embargo, or even a points deduction, because of poor governance, leaving both the EFL and the Premier League unable to take action, cannot be ignored in the story of this title win. Let's get back to the football though, and with all around them losing their heads, Leicester did manage to keep theirs in the end and hit a vital 3-game winning streak at crunch time to pull away and claim the title. It's 97 points on the board now, so a win on final day will allow Leicester to join the 100 club. And yes, Championship nerds like me will tell you they're already in it after scoring 102 points back in 2014. So it is congratulations to Leicester on their title win. In my pre-season predictions video, I had them winning the title and said
a lot about Leicester this coming season is giving me vibes of Newcastle 2016-17 under Rafa Benitez.
And I was right. In spite of this thrilling promotion race, Leicester have just been too powerful for the Championship. And let's be honest, in most normal Championship seasons, without the insane high points totals, this would have been somewhat of a procession for them. On the pitch, the quality of the likes of Dewsbury Hall, Mavididi, Pereira, Winks and the gang was just way too much, especially for the lower likes of the division throughout the first 3 quarters of the season. And we have to acknowledge that alongside having the best players and the most income, they were very well coached by Enzo Maresca. Off the pitch, there is an argument that the FFP breach and lack of sanctions does put some kind of asterisk against this achievement. Those with a grudge to bear will accuse the Foxes of cheating their way to this title. Each to their own, but as someone who's covered this division for years, I'd prefer to look at the bigger picture and would therefore conclude that Leicester are very much a symptom and not a cause of the utterly ridiculous circumstances the Championship operates in, year out. Get your thoughts in on Leicester's title win and how they'll be remembered down in the comments. I like to hope that as a grown adult, I'm fairly well in control of my emotions. So if we can please avoid on the one side the gloating, cocky nonsense, and on the other side the angry, outraged, accusatory stuff, that will probably make the discourse a little bit more enjoyable for everyone. And let's conclude this by saying to the Leicester players and fans, congratulations, enjoy the Premier League.